In cinematography, lighting is the most important. It is possible to get a cinematic image with good lighting and a bad camera, but not with bad lighting and a good camera.
Unfortunately, as with all things, it's more complicated than it initially seems. But with a little theory and some practice, you can take your shots from looking like this
into this! In order to talk about light, we need to be able to measure it. We use foot candles to...
Okay, Imperial System using Yankee. Pretty much everyone around the world these days uses lux to measure light, as you can see.
Okay, either way, it's a measure of the brightness of visible light in a given area, which is all well and good, but oftentimes when lighting, you need to be in communication with the camera team while they expose the shot. Exposure, and by extension, light, is often measured in stops of light, which is a completely relative measurement. A decrease of one stop means half as much light, and an increase means twice as much light. When someone stops down the exposure by one stop, they're halving the brightness.
The reason light is measured this way is because of the way it falls off or gets dimmer across space. Light follows the inverse square law, where light intensity is equal to 1 over the distance from the light source squared. In other words, it falls off like this.
Impressive.
But brighter and darker isn't all there is to a light. Some lights are warmer or more orange and reddish, while others are cooler or more bluish. A warm light might be this indoor lamp, while a cold light might replicate the sun.
The warmth of a light is called its color temperature, and it is measured in degrees Kelvin. Tungsten bulbs, like the one behind Eric, are quite warm, about 3,200 degrees Kelvin, while sunlight is about 5,500 degrees Kelvin.
In addition to temperature, lights also have tint, which is how magenta or green it is. Many lights, especially those not designed for film, will have a magenta or green hue, which will need to be corrected for in camera or in color correction. You can measure the tint as the distance of the chromaticity of an illuminant from the picking focus in UV space.
Yeah? Whoa. Anyway, there's no commonly used unit for tint. Just hold up a white card and auto white balance on your camera. It's usually a good idea to match the tint and often temperature of all the lights in a shot. That way you can fully eliminate it in the final color grade. Although sometimes you'll want different lights to be different hues, and in that case you can white balance for one light, or you can just wing it. Okay, so there's brightness and color, that makes sense. But as it turns out, there's also a third mystical property of lighting that is often overlooked. Different lights include different amounts of each color, shown in their spectrum.
A more even spread of light, which more closely resembles the sun's light, is considered more pleasing because it illuminates all the colors in an object and replicates natural light. The measure of how well a light replicates natural lighting is called its color rendering index, or CRI. The more pleasing the light, the higher the CRI and the closer to 100. Fluorescent lights have a very spiky spectrum and a lower CRI around 50, which is why they make you want to claw your eyes out. On the other hand, tungsten lights have a very high CRI, around 95, and make you look like a star. Here are some more terms which are often used when lighting a scene. Hard light is direct directional light, like the sun, or this light.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Soft light is a light from a larger diffuse light source, like ambient light, or this. Oh, shut up, it's not that bad.
Hard light often produces shadows, while soft light gently wraps around the face.
The brightest light in a shot is usually called the key light, and a light that fills the shadows is called the fill light. Oftentimes there'll be a light coming from the back called backlight, rim light, hair light, basically any other name you can come up with on the spot.
Technically speaking, you now know about lights. Artistically speaking, however, you are a child, an infant, a newborn, an embryo!
Okay, so check out our next video about common lighting setups so you can make things look pretty.
Bye-bye.